So you were Tommy End. You actually wrestled for a long time as Tommy End.
Yeah.
Tell me the transformation between Tommy End and your Aleister Black character now.
So there is a considerable amount of content to what made Tommy End and what makes Aleister Black, but there's a lot of like similarities. I sometimes feel that like Tommy End shed his skin and became Aleister Black. I truly feel that in WWE, Tommy End could become Aleister Black. I needed that transition. So when I started out in wrestling, you got to start somewhere, and you either start by being the good guy or the bad guy. And there's a couple of cliches that follow that, where it's like, you come out to the people and you wave your hands and you make a strong fist, like, let's get this guy. And you're automatically seen as the good guy because that's the energy that you resonate towards an audience. And the flip side of that is you come out and you look a certain way and like it's these people, and people automatically assume that with you're the bad guy. And we can all do that to an extent, but I think I was in 7 years and I just didn't resonate with the crowd. I didn't click. And I started thinking, I'm like, yeah, but it's because it's not authentic. This is not who you are. You're not either the yay guy or the boo guy. That's just not who you are. Like, you come from a different background, and you come from this tiny speck in the world called Amsterdam, where there's not a lot of wrestling at all. I was a big fan of hardcore music growing up, the hardcore scene, like black metal, and that, especially the hardcore scene, is very much positive, and it's very much, okay, we might not look like you, but it doesn't mean we can't be successful. And I've always had
I didn't really know that. Well, that's cool.
Sure. And it's what resonated with me, because I never felt like them.
Yeah.
Like I never felt like, okay, the 9 to 5 mentality, that's me. I never felt that like some of those norms are just not what make me me. Like the idea that I had to spend the rest of my life behind a desk and not being able to express myself the way I wanted to express myself, that sounds, to me, that's torture. Like, if
me too.
Well,
just so I can agree with you.
And like, if people out there, like, they do love that, then, more power to them. It's just like, it wasn't for me. And I found that in the hardcore scene, where it was like, you can express yourself and you can be you, and there's a message, and it's positivity, and it's like one for all for one. And I love that. And I have throughout life, like, developed this like natural cynicism about myself, where I kind of look at everything with a magnifying glass, and a bit skeptical.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
But wait a minute. Now you kind of you talk about positivity, but then you talk about skepticism. That's opposite.
But skeptical doesn't have to necessarily be like a negative thing. I think if you allow yourself to second guess certain things and look at things from a distance, you don't immediately run into something blindfolded.
Okay.
So that's a positive.
So you're kind of like being more careful.
Yeah.
Careful. Okay.
And like I said, there's a lot of layers to what made the Tommy End character. And I started like putting all that stuff where I was like, you were not, your average kid, and you were not listening to, regular stuff. You weren't doing regular things, so why are you trying to be a regular person, even in something that's so strange and so dynamic as professional wrestling? And I developed this character basically like an anti-hero. I called myself the anti-hero, Tommy End. And from the moment I did that, that's it. Now we've got it. And I had something, and people started to like recognize it a little bit more, because at the time it was also something, professional wrestling, especially back then in Europe, was a little bit more of a subculture. Like, it's not as mainstream as it is in the United States or in other countries. In Europe, especially at the time, it was very like subculture. And the people that were drawn to it were also people that were invested in subcultures. Hardcore is a subculture, black metal is a subculture. Just basically alternative scene is like, it's kind of subculture-esque. Yeah. And that crowd immediately was like, that's our guy. And it didn't matter if I was trying to be a bad guy or a good guy, people just got it.
Yeah.
And because people got it, I started making a name for myself, and promoters started to take notice, and we went from Germany to United Kingdom, Poland, Italy, France. The ball just started rolling. Went to Japan, went to North America for a couple of times, and it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and all because I made that change. And then somewhere down the line, I made another change because I always had a fast interest in religion and the occult, and what were the dynamics behind that, and because of that, I started implementing a little bit more darkness into the character, and it became a little bit more cult leader type-esque, and it started even resonated more, and people started like, oh my God, this is what I need to be. And I feel that everything I've done as Tommy End was setting myself up for Aleister Black, if that makes sense. It's
Who came up with Aleister Black, the actual name?
It was a collaboration between myself and Triple H.
I love it.
We started shooting names back and forth, and I think he saw what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
And then he shot me a name, and I said, I don't hate that, but can we put it in these letterings, and can we put it this way? And it came out to be Aleister Black, and he's like, that's it. That sounds good to me.
No, it's bingo. It really resonates. And it's true. I always tell, it's funny because I always end my podcast, be yourself and trust that it's enough. Always be yourself and trust that it's enough. Sure. And that's exactly what you just did. You actually transformed into, this is who I am.